Welcome everybody to Thursday. Today we have Sanjay Desai from India, and he's going to go over his dot card today, as well as some talk about some other colors that he has recently added to his repertoire. So, Sanjay, are you going to be doing a demonstration today, or talking about colors, or both?
I'll not do a demonstration, but I'll show you some of the mixes that I've been working on recently.
Perfect, perfect.
Um,
Okay.
and I'll discuss, of course, the dot card and some changes that have happened after the
Wonderful.
Just
dot
quick,
card.
Yep.
quickly, Ashley we will introduce you because I think we have some new names in the room and also friends on Facebook. In case everybody's wondering, where is John? John is in Argentina for the Urban Sketchers event. He was here earlier,
Yeah.
but couldn't because he's going to have a presentation there, I think a few minutes from now. So we have today hosting the show our brand ambassador, Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. And yes,
Absolutely.
Ashley already introduced Sanjay, who recently did, along with his fellow brand ambassadors, a meet and greet session at Chandigarh, India. So you can go check photos and videos on Instagram. We'll be posting more about the event. Over to you, Ashley.
Awesome. Great. Sanjay, are you comfortable with questions kind of while you're going over things, or would you prefer we wait till the end?
None, anytime.
Okay,
Absolutely,
perfect.
absolutely fine. You can ask whenever you have.
Awesome. So we'll have you go over your colors and things. And then I think Gio also is going to be kind of painting along with your dot card. And so we'll have
Okay.
time for that at the end. And if anybody at home kind of plays around with colors, let us know. We want to see what you're up to. So go ahead and take it away, Sanjay.
Yeah. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. So I have this dot card here, and I have French ultramarine cobalt, Prussian cobalt turquoise, French ochre, Indian yellow, um, burnt orange, queen, Naples yellow, cad yellow, and orange. And these colors. Now, as I said, these colors were selected for the subjects that I paint, and the main criteria was the subjects that I paint, which is cityscapes mainly. But this has been this dot card is now quite I think 3 or 4 years old. So as is the Daniel Smith practice, they have been coming up every year with some fantastic new colors, and a few of it's any in any case it is very difficult to choose your favorite colors from more than 250 shades. When you look at the shade card, it's like you feel like a child in a toy shop. But lately, I have added wisteria, of course, the King's Royal Blue, lavender, and one of my most favorite colors today for the bright reds is the transparent pyrrole orange. And so these are the colors that I have added. Um, I love to, and mostly in my paintings, hardly any color is used in its pure form. So they get mixed. And over the years, I have learned to keep them fresh, um, and keep the mixes fresh, especially in the Indian scene. And the kind of pictures that I like to paint is in the stark, sunny afternoon scenes. So the shadows actually end up defining the painting, and the shadows get warm and cold. So getting those wonderful warm and cold shadows was a problem that I was facing, and I was, kind of hit and miss case. So slowly, I developed this technique of mixing these 4 or 5 colors to come up with these wonderful, warm and cool grays with some wonderful textures. And the same technique I've been practicing and I've been using in some different subject, which is the lotus ponds and some, these different kinds of landscapes, not very defined shapes, like hazy kind of landscapes. So here we are. And what I do during the mixes is that so I'll just show you. Let's hope it works. So this is my this is my palette, and what I do is I I keep these colors separate. It's a bit, I have held it vertical, so I'll have a little bit of problem, but I hope you'll understand. So you can see. So this is the cobalt turquoise. Um, this is queen rose. Then there is cobalt blue and pyrrole orange. So these 4 colors, when I mix in different directions, they create some wonderful mixes. And you keep on going till you get the right mix. For example, if I slightly mix, you can see this color. And by the way, this is a suspension. So if you paint it in on a horizontal paper, and you can warm it up by pulling a little bit red, and you can cool it by adding a little bit of turquoise. Then you can further cool it by adding a little bit of cobalt. You can see how these colors are getting wonderfully arranged.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said that first blue is on the left.
This is cobalt turquoise.
Oh, turquoise. Thank you.
Yeah, cobalt turquoise. By the way, cobalt turquoise makes fantastic violets. Huh? And you can already see here, you can see here, this is impossible to achieve with any other, method. So this is the kind of accident that I have kind of learned to so you can see here, these are and I keep the palette, the colors in the palette separate. I hardly ever mix colors on the palette. I mix as and when I want. So you can see there is a wonderful cool gray here and a warm. You can see this going here. It's almost like lavender inside the burnt sienna. Can see. So I keep these, and while painting, I keep the paper wet and horizontal. So I'll now create this on a paper, and let's see where it goes. So this is cobalt turquoise. It's a little bit dirty because of the brush I have just used, but you can see here. So this is the kind of this is a wonderful mix for a shadow. And then I add another mix for a cold shadow is, of course, our standard ultramarine and queen rose. And then there is another wonderful mix that I use is ultramarine and orange.
Would that be the pyrrole orange?
Yeah, transparent pyrrole orange.
Nice.
It's a wonderful, and it's a very transparent orange. So there are these, it's reddish orange, and there is this another cadmium red medium, but it's not transparent, so it doesn't mix so nicely, and it gets muddy pretty quickly. It can be used in a different way. So this is, see this how wonderfully this gets, and then I can add.
Sanjay, when we were talking earlier, you mentioned the importance of letting it dry naturally to allow
Yes,
that natural
yes,
suspension of the different weighted colors to have
yeah,
a better effect.
yes.
Perhaps you can
So
describe the importance of that.
yeah, see, I'll show you. Um, so you can already see it, even if it is not see, it's not horizontal, but you can already see the suspension here. You can see here it's a mix of two colors, but it is still, you can see the separate entities in a very finely dispersed manner.
It makes the
And
shadows more interesting.
yes, yes. See, and especially I like this kind of thing. And if you keep this horizontal, then the dispersion is pretty pronounced, and you can horizontal, it won't happen here, but I can show you. You can keep on adding colors like this, and in a horizontal paper, on a horizontal paper, this gets wonderfully granulated. So see the granulation. And this is what I use in my paintings these days. And the end result is, and of course, I use many other colors. End result is something like this. You see here, uh, here. Um, so this is what I've been working on lately.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really
And this,
beautiful.
another thing is I don't mind working a little bit opaque. So these are mixes from the gouache. Because it's impossible to do negative painting around these small things. Uh, so these are gouache. This is actually white. Um,
And the
so I've
the
been
green grays you've got in the background there, what color is that?
this
Yes.
one,
Yes.
that again, that's made from um, cobalt turquoise, and I think it is the yellow ochre and a little bit of ultramarine, but the base is cobalt turquoise.
Nice, very nice. You mentioned a German greenish umber, greenish
Yeah,
ochre.
yeah. The greenish
It's
raw umber.
German greenish raw
Green
umber. It's
raw
kind of a
umber. Yeah,
mouthful.
Thank you,
yeah.
Ashley.
You bet.
So recently, I mean, new learning. You must have obviously you know Praful Sawant. So Praful was there in Chandigarh, and he said he mixes for his these hazy skies, which he gives with large washes with broad brush. He uses ultramarine and this isoindolin yellow. So those two colors, he says, they mix very well. So I'm planning tomorrow to use those colors. Uh, Try something.
In my brain, that turns into green. So it's how
Yeah,
you
but
do the washes,
he says
obviously.
with isoindolin yellow, it doesn't turn green. That's what he is claiming. So let's see. And it didn't, because he did quite a big demo in Chandigarh, and it did not turn green. Maybe he added a little bit of Queen Rose or Alizarin Crimson, but
Yes.
and
I,
you know what
isoindolene yellow is actually almost an orange. It's a
yes, yes,
very, very warm yellow.
yeah, yeah. But because it has a little bit of a red element, so adding it to the ultramarine blue uh, makes it a little bit greenish, but not really green.
Okay, must try that one.
Yeah. And another thing that he did, which was very interesting, and what he did was he painted with a broad brush on a horizontal paper with a pretty thick consistency, um, ultramarine and isoindolin yellow and probably alizarin crimson, and the paper was wet, and then he tilted the paper. So what happens is that all three colors don't come down in the same way because of the density. The red comes down a little bit more. The yellow, the blue stays in its same place. So it creates a wonderful effect.
Fantastic. Good tip.
So I think the trick, according to me, which I am trying is uh, changing the position of the painting and mixing on the paper, and then creating these suspensions on wet paper. And as and when you want, you can tilt the paper or you keep it horizontal. If you want it to flow, then let it flow. So this we kind of forget that that is a variable that is available with us, the position of the paper. I hope I have any questions, or if you want any more information, please feel free.
Sanjay, what was your original color group that you selected for your dot card influenced by?
Originally, it was a pretty standard color palette. The only in like French ultramarine, cobalt blue, Prussian blue, cobalt turquoise, French ochre, Indian yellow. I loved this Indian yellow. Queen burnt orange also. I love this. And one more color that I use and I love is this perlin violet. This I love perlin violets. And then rich green gold for trees and stuff. I also like the texture and the intensity of this Italian burnt sienna.
Sanjay, can you speak for a moment about how your process and in choosing these colors? Because as we know, there's so many colors to choose from. So what were your reasons for choosing these specific 18 colors?
Yeah. So, see, I think the painting process starts with your favorite subject. And my subject was the cityscapes in those days. And I think for a fairly realistic painter, there are some certain staple colors that that need to be in your palette. And what I love about Daniel Smith the most, of course, they have fantastic range of colors and so many colors. But what actually matters in my kind of realistic painting is the quality of these staple colors. The staple colors, which is like the ultramarine cobalt, yellow ochre, cad yellow, alizarin crimson or crimson, and a red. These are the two blues, two yellows, and two reds are a must, and they will be used the most, and the mixture of those will be used the most in most of Indian urbanscapes. So if you have a
Sanjay, can you
fantastic,
show us some of your cityscapes while you talk about this?
you want to see? Sure.
Yes, and somebody would like to see the painting with the lily pads again.
Sure.
We are all speechless on his beautiful paintings. I think we'd love to just look through every drawer in his studio.
Yeah. I know earlier Sanjay was talking about how he likes to mix like the cobalt turquoise with the quinacridone rose, and he was speaking about how, those different pigments, because they have different weights, they fight for space. Um,
Yeah.
Sanjay, could you remind us? I know we talked about it before we went live, but could you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about why you don't like to use a heat gun or a heat tool to dry it?
See, I'll show you a live example.
Perfect.
So here is a painting of Varanasi, the ghats in the morning. Okay. Now you can see here this suspension. So you can see that the blue and the reds, they have maintained their identity, and they are, and as I like to say, they are fighting for their own space. Here you can see them. So in that kind of situation, it is important to let them float and let them dry on their own. If you use a heat gun, then they get dispersed, and that natural kind of dispersion is lost. So we have to be patient with this kind of work. So similarly, here if you see, if I use a heat gun here, then this dispersion will be lost. So here are a few of my paintings.
Is this watercolor or does it have gouache involved?
No. There is no gouache. This This
Just
is
watercolor.
watercolor.
Wow.
And these
Stunning.
are plain. These are plain. I have left white spaces. Um, so I paint these very sunny afternoon scenes. So I end up leaving a lot of white space. And of course, I use a little bit of gouache where I have missed. But overall, it's transparent.
Sergey, may we see that closer? Thank you. Wow.
So this also I have been doing lately to avoid the sharp edges. You just wet the edge and then then you apply the dark, and they get into each other and create a wonderful kind of a lost and found edge.
I love the idea of lost and found edges and leaving the white of the paper. Has that always been something that you've done, or has that evolved as you've evolved as an
It it
artist?
it evolved. See what starts happening is uh, initially you try a new subject and you get satisfied pretty quickly. Even an average painting makes you very happy. But you do, 40, 50, 100 average paintings, and then you start feeling the difference between a really good painting and an average painting. And then I saw that sometimes it feels that you are just filling in the spaces with different colors. So they don't mix with each other. And I thought in my mind, I am unnecessarily creating line as a dividing element in the subject. Actually, lines are imaginary. Lines are just borders of spaces. Um, so I started trying to smudge the edges deliberately after I painted. But then I developed this technique of just wetting the paper and then letting it flow. Like you can see here, you can see here. You just wet the paper and then apply the dark, and this flows here. So this is a Varanasi Ghat painting, um, and I love this doing these scratches. You know what? It's very difficult to do this negative painting,
What
and
tool do you use for the scratches?
I have a ton of these different tools and a
Fantastic.
credit card. Credit
Do
card
you,
for a bigger.
ha, do
But the
you,
basic purpose, yeah.
sorry, I was going to say, do you find that the new subject you've been exploring with the calm lily scene is
Yeah.
calming to paint compared to the busy city scenes?
Calming in the sense it calms my mind, or
Yes.
well, I think I have two personalities. I love my city, and see, fundamentally, I have lived in this city for my entire life. So, and I have seen it change over the last now 60 years. Um, so I love to, and it has a long history. The city has a long history, and it is changing from the old architecture to new architecture, and the temples and the shops that I used to go to in my school days. Um, so painting the city is because I have been in a city person for 60 years, and then I've been traveling. So I also did a lot of these. This is also close to my city. So this I used to do a lot. I still do a lot. I travel a lot, and these are like day trips with a few friends. But
Were they plein air? Were they plein air pictures?
yeah, there are plenty.
Yeah. I'm looking at your Instagram right now, which I put in
Yeah.
the chat for everybody. I'm seeing a lot of teaching, like in a studio space. Do you do any online teaching?
I don't teach regularly, but if somebody asks me to do a workshop, I only do workshops on invitation. And that's it. I do. See,
And you do,
fortunately for me, Pune is a extremely thriving watercolor kind of scene. There are hundreds, maybe thousands of watercolor artists, um, and there is a lot of camaraderie between them, and everybody can walk into anybody's studio and paint, and we go out every weekend. Many times there are 50, 70 artists working together on weekends. So it's not a very formal and commercial atmosphere. It's very informal and friendly kind of thing. So I don't do, usually commercial. I have done a few online workshops for a lady in US, for people in US. But mostly the workshops I do outside Pune. So I have done in Rajasthan, then I have done in Varanasi, 3 workshops. I have done a few in Bangalore, indoor workshop. So that's how I work.
These are
awesome.
beautiful. How do you start your work when you're outside? Do you sketch? Do you paint? Do you study it first?
I used to do that a lot, sketching first, but now I don't do sketching. And what I found after a uh, few years, that sketching that same subject is not important. So basically, what was important was getting this proportion right. It was not the drawing. So I have been working on my uh, proportions for a long time, and I do that almost every day. So I do these simple kind of pencil sketches or pen sketches, but these are purely for proportions. These are not serious sketches. These are purely, um, but once I personally feel that if I get the proportion right, then it has a tremendous effect on my watercolor. Then my watercolor drawing and perspective and composition will be correct. So I paint, this is Milin, um, me, and then I do a lot of my cats.
Oh my,
So,
these are lovely.
so the point is that, these are the subjects. Now, if I go wrong in the proportion, then a sketch will immediately tell you that this is gone wrong. So, and it's my kind of habit that I finish one in less than 10 minutes. If it is wrong, then I go to the next sketch. But this improves the proportion, and I think the proportion is more important than doing the sketch of. And then I do these sometimes these color sketches. But this is how. Oh, here is one more.
The diversity of your subject matter is fascinating.
Yeah. But
Yes,
these
I
are
was
all
just,
my own photographs. These are all my own photographs, my friends. So, so I did these buffaloes and
Sanjay, can you lift your sketchbook up a little bit more towards your monitor so we could see it? We couldn't see the very bottom of it.
Sanjay, I'm noticing how vast the subjects that you do. And I was reading a little bit about you on the Daniel Smith blog, and you said that you don't like to stick to one style, you don't believe in it.
yeah,
And the subject decides the style. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
yeah. See, what I noticed was that if you, I, what happens is if you find your style or a technique too quickly in your career in the first, I would say, 8 or 10 years, then this happened to me. It's my personal experience, so don't take it wrong. But what started happening was that I started looking for a subject that would suit my technique rather than looking for a subject that touched my heart. You know, so if this is a wonderful subject, of course there are out of 100 subjects only 10 are paintable. But the process becomes reverse. Rather than looking for a wonderful subject to paint, you start looking for a subject that suits your style. And then you start avoiding a lot of subjects. And I believe that it's uh, it's impossible to fit even 2 or 3 subject matters in one style. Unless you paint like Giovanni, which is a meditative kind of a different level of work. But otherwise, for a high speed work, you cannot stick to a technique. Um, and it's most like I feel my comparison with classical music. You see, uh, of course, there are a lot of rules and regulations, and there are, but when you are finally, an expert musician is singing or playing an instrument, then all the rules and everything is forgotten, and then he is free of those rules, and then only uh, he can paint freely. So I thought I will not stick to a technique. I look at a subject. I mean, I went to Varanasi first time, and first 2 3 days I was completely bowled over. I could not do anything, and I noticed that I have to do something different. I can't simplify your subject and look for a focus and look at this, and how do you find a focus in this? How do you simplify this? So I had to find a new technique or completely different free way to do this kind of stuff. And then slowly I
Sanjay,
started finding, yeah,
have you been formally trained or are you a self-taught
no,
artist?
I've never attended a class, but as I said, I've seen a lot of great artists paint in their studios. Of course, they were in oil and acrylic, but I've seen a lot of artists paint in their studios.
Yeah.
But I have not been formally trained anyway.
Sanjay, do you mind if Giovanni shows the colors he prepared? He did
Of
some
course,
color swatches
of course,
of
of
your
course,
dot card colors.
of
So,
course, sure,
Gio, if you're ready,
sure,
perfect.
sure. Yeah,
Okay. I tried little mixes in Sanjay only with the sticks,
yes,
selecting in your palette. The
yeah,
stick is carmine, alizarin crimson, rich green
green
gold.
gold. Yeah,
The French ultramarine, ivory black,
yes,
Prussian blue, and titanium white with the
yeah,
stick. And I tried these mixes
wonderful.
and created a little gray
Yeah,
tone with for example, the first is carmine, and apply the titanium white in this part,
Yeah.
a little point of ivory black for creating the mixing. And the second is alizarin crimson, the same tips. And the ultramarine blue, check the little
Yeah.
calculation.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was, and you have achieved it in your first attempt. I've been trying
Yeah.
to do this for
And I love this process because, for example, I show it with alizarin crimson starting and apply the titanium white
yes.
for the pastel tone.
Wow.
And after little point of ivory black for little gray.
Mm.
But when apply the ivory black before and titanium white for the gray and alizarin crimson after, I create another tone.
Yes, it's a completely different.
Yes, completely different. And the same with the Prussian blue, for example. It's beautiful selection, Sanjay. Before for
Yes.
white tone and point of ivory black for little gray. But in this case, I starting with titanium white, little point of ivory, very, very light, and Prussian blue,
Yes.
and changing the sequence
Yes.
for the mixing. It's very, very interesting color. Oops, sorry for the
Yeah.
shadow because don't have the light. Okay.
Yes.
And very, very beautiful. And the same is, for example, with the ultramarine blue and rich green gold, creating this
Yes.
very beautiful, beautiful tone and little granulation inside. It's very, very beautiful selection.
Yeah. And can you show me the first paper? You had a gray kind of yeah, the this the below the ultramarine one. What is this beautiful black gray strip?
This strip,
Swatch? Yeah. No, the above that.
this
Yeah.
only ivory black.
Ah, okay. But it
Yeah,
has granulated, huh?
yeah.
It has granulated, yes. And then you added titanium white a little bit at the end.
Yeah. Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Giovanni.
Thank you,
Giovanni,
Ashley.
I have a question, Sanjay. How do
Yeah.
you like to use titanium white in your paintings?
See, I used to use titanium. I used to use titanium white as a paint earlier, and but now I use it only for highlights. But that need for white has now vanished because of these three colors: a little bit opaque, lavender, wisteria, and King's Royal Blue.
Right.
So earlier I needed these nice pastely violets and pinks, but now I can achieve those with these three colors and of course mixing them with Naples yellow. So these colors have somehow gotten rid of the need to use titanium white. So now titanium white is used only somewhere I miss the negative painting and highlights and that kind of stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. So, what do you like to use you mentioned lavender and King's Royal Blue and
Yeah.
wisteria. They kind of fall into the same family. What exactly do you like to use those for in a painting?
See, I'll show you another trick that I just learned. So, for shadows, especially the dark shadows, I create a violet with Prussian blue. Okay. So this is a violet with a Prussian blue. This is I use many times for shadows. And now you will see the magic when I mix King's Royal Blue and see, it actually displaces the thing and creates a fine opaque layer. You watch how it disperses the mixture. And it replaces the color and creates a wonderful opaque shadow. So for example, this shadow. This is a mixture of Prussian blue, this twin rose and lavender. So when you want to make shadows a little bit kind of opaque, pastely, then I use those colors. And
So
another,
basically you're adding light to shadow.
yes. So the
That just
shadow becomes a little bit of like a reflected light shadow.
That's
It
amazing.
becomes a little bit, glowing shadow. And another thing that I do these days is this is a lavender. And of course, everybody uses mix of lavender and burnt sienna, Italian burnt sienna. But I also use that, but I use this also. This is Naples yellow. Naples yellow and your lavender. So this also I like the way it works.
Wow.
And lavender and burnt sienna. That also creates a wonderful color, a little bit opaque, but wonderful color for shadows. So here it is.
Did you say burnt sienna?
Yeah, Italian burnt sienna.
Oh, Italian. Okay.
It's a little bit like
And
shadow
another,
violet.
Yeah.
yeah, it looks. And one more is this favorite color of mine. What's the name? I'm forgetting the name. Perlin violet. Perlin violet and Perlin violet and lavender also make a wonderful mixture. And this is what my subject needs. So I don't deliberately go after creating some strange paint, but I feel the need, and thanks to the fantastic range of Daniel Smith, I end up getting exactly what I want. This is perlin violet and lavender.
Very nice mixes.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah, and now that these have dried, you can see how beautifully they have settled down.
Is that a rough paper?
Yeah, that's a rough paper, yes.
Oh, that really helps the granulation to
Yes,
stand
yes,
out.
yes.
There's a question if you use lavender because it is opaque, and I think you already mentioned that you stopped using titanium white in your mixes because now you have lavender,
Yeah.
which has white in it.
And
Is that right?
wisteria is also, I love using wisteria these days. Wisteria is a wonderful color. Wonderful. Nobody, I mean, who would have thought that wisteria can be used in cityscapes? But it's a very useful color. Very useful color.
Okay, here's the trick question. If you could only have 3 of these colors to take with you on a trip, what colors would you pick?
I think the staples, ultramarine, a yellow ochre, and or ultramarine, Hansa, yellow medium, and queen rose.
Perfect. So kind of a magenta rather than a red.
Yes, yes.
Perfect.
Because
I love it.
I can create a red with Hansa yellow. I can create a green. I can create.
Do you have a moment to show that? We still have about 7 minutes left. So
Yes.
can you show us that really quick?
You want to see what?
I just want to see you make red
Oh, yeah.
using those 2 colors, the Quin Rose and the Hansa Yellow medium. It's like a magic trick.
So this is queen rose.
There is much discussion that the new primaries are actually not a red, but more like a magenta.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because you
And you
can't make
can.
magenta using red and yellow, but you could make red using
Yes.
magenta and yellow.
See, here is the red.
And I have to correct myself. Earlier I said that lavender had white in it. It does not. That's King's Royal Blue that has white
Yeah.
in it. And lavender, actually, yes, it does. Lavender has white, and so does King's Royal Blue. And Wisteria is the one that does not.
But in this also, I'll show you another mix that I have that works wonders for me. This is wisteria. Wisteria and King's Royal Blue. Look at that. It's a very delicate violet.
That's beautiful. Buffy, are you getting some new mixes?
Yes, new colors unlocked. We're
Yes.
leveling up. Thank you to Sanjay for an amazing presentation. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Beautiful.
So
Thank
many
you.
fantastic tips with your beautiful artwork and colors.
Sanjay, your work, I have to say, is so refreshing. Your cityscapes, they feel so alive. And I absolutely love what you spoke on about your style and subject and choosing your subject from your heart. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, so really quick, who's been painting along at home? Do you guys want to hold up your artwork? We can see. If you're just watching, that's fine too. Who do we have? Oh, Kathleen.
Oh,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. I see Anna Candela has something she's showing. Oh, I love it. Sketchbooks are really fun for mixing and
Yeah.
trying out new things. Who else? Don't be shy.
Sanjay, I am so inspired by the extreme change in what you're doing. And I want to encourage you in that. It's so
Thank you.
frustrating to try to do it, but I'm known for painting longhorns, and I want to paint color. I want to paint color. No more longhorns, no more identifiable.
Yeah.
Yes,
And so
very
you were
beautiful.
very inspirational to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Sanjay, by
awesome.
the
Thank
way,
you
will be
guys.
back.
Thank
He
you,
will be
Sanjay.
back, Ashley, for a full guesting, meaning he's gonna do a live demo, and that's gonna be next month, November. Yay.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you, everybody. And we hope to
Thank
see you
you.
back tomorrow. We've got our Caroline. She's going to show us some watercolor ground. So it's going to be really exciting.
Amazing
Awesome.
work.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Sanjay.
Thank you, Ashley.
See you all tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you.
You loved it.
I
All
thoroughly
right.
Thank you,
enjoyed it. Thank you so
thank
much.
you, Ashley.
You're
And
so